That's so fun. All right, we're going to call this planning board meeting to order. This planning board meeting is being held on January 8th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, statement of adequate notice. Under the Sunshine Law, adequate notice in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act was provided on January 5th, 2026 of this meeting's date, time, and location. The agenda was mailed to the Cranbury Press and Home News Tribune, posted on the Township Bulletin Board, mailed to those requesting personal notice, and filed with the municipal clerk. Roll call, please. Ms. Anderson? Here. Ms. El-Badawi is out. Mr. Giddings?
Here.
Ms. Knierim?
Here.
Mr. Mildenberg is out. Mr. Muselli?
Here.
Mr. Polk?
Here.
Mr. Stewart?
Here.
And Mr. Whitman?
Here.
Okay, thank you. We have a quorum. So at this time, we're going to start our reorg. So at this time, I'm going to open the floor for chairperson nominations for 2026.
I'd like to nominate Wayne Whitman. I'd like to enthusiastically second that nomination.
Any other nominations? All right, at this time, the floor is going to close for nominations. Roll call for Mr. Whitman as 2026 chair. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Giddings?
Yes.
Ms. Knierim?
Yes.
Mr. Muselli?
Yes.
Mr. Polk?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
And Mr. Whitman?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I
Congrats.
can vote for myself, right?
Yeah, you can. Okay, so then it's on you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I will try to do a good job for the board as we did last year. At this point in time, I'd like to nominate a vice chair, Jason, for being vice chair. Can I have a nomination, or can I have a motion to approve?
So moved or second?
We got Lisa nominated
That's
and Bill
fine.
a second.
Okay, all right then. Okay, any other nominations? Okay, we're gonna close the floor for nominations. Okay, roll call for Mr. Stewart as 2026 vice chair. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Giddings?
Yes.
Ms. Knierim?
Yes.
Mr. Muselli?
Yes.
Mr. Polk?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
And Mr. Whitman?
Absolutely. Yes.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to nominate the board secretary, Gina. And Gina has graciously accepted to be our board secretary if we want her. So I could have a nomination.
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay. All right, roll call for me as board secretary. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Giddings?
Yes.
Ms. Knierim?
Yes.
Mr. Muselli?
Yes.
Mr. Polk?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
And Mr. Whitman?
Yes.
Okay, thanks,
And
everybody.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, at this point in time, I'd like to hold representatives to the Development Review Committee. We need two. In the past, Bill and I had served, and then Deanna was an alternate. Do we still, anybody want to do anything different than that? Yeah, I know.
I barely knew you before the meeting.
I just being honest. Does anybody want to change that? Are we good with that, everybody? Okay,
You don't need a vote, you just say it's.
that's it.
Yeah.
So moved. Okay. Okay, at this point in time, I'm going to do this as a mass nomination for all of our board professionals. And the board professionals that will be nominating are the board attorney, board engineer, conflict board engineer, board planner, board traffic consultant, and conflict board traffic consultant. So Gina's going to read the names.
Yeah, I can read them. Okay, so this is for Sharon Dragan of Mason, Griffin, and Pearson as the board's attorney, Martina Bailey of Muller and Bailey as the board's conflict attorney, Elizabeth Laney as from Phillips Price as the board's planner, David Hoder from Hoder Associates as the board's engineer, Tom Decker from Van Cleef Engineering as the board's conflict engineer, Andrew Ferranda from Shropshire Associates as the board's traffic consultant, and then David Horner from Horner and Cantor as the board's conflict traffic engineer.
Does the board, anybody have any corrections, comments, or anything that they would like to add to that? Okay,
Just need a motion.
I just need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
Okay. All right, roll call for the board professionals for 2026. Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Giddings,
Yes.
Ms. Knierim,
Yes.
Mr. Muselli,
Yes.
Mr. Polk,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
and Mr. Whitman.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you get this, you get to stay. Okay, next item on the agenda is the 2026 calendar. Did everybody get, that was handed out before the end of the year. Did anybody
Yeah,
have any
it's-
corrections or comments?
It's the same
or-
dates, at
It's-
least. from
No, but the
that.
dates didn't change.
No,
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't look closely at it. I just assumed the dates were the same.
they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we good with, do we have to have a nomination for that or just say okey dokey?
Motion and second.
All right.
so, Yeah.
Gotta be
I know,
formal
it's-
here. All right, can I have a motion to approve the calendar for 2026 for the planning board?
So moved. Second.
All right, roll call for the calendar year. Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Giddings,
Yes.
Ms. Knierim,
Yes.
Mr. Muselli,
Yes.
Mr. Polk,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
and Mr. Whitman.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the designation of our official newspaper for 2026.
Do they still exist?
Somewhere,
Yeah. The only kind of change to it, I don't know. You-
This law changed earlier this summer, so that's starting in
Yeah.
March 1st, that all municipal notices that are generated by the municipality, the official place for them is on the website and also your bulletin board. So now you do not have to put notices that are initiated by the municipality in a newspaper anymore,
As of last March or this coming?
this coming March.
So if we made a motion, can we make it through March and then have a motion?
Yes, that's what's going to happen in this resolution. You're designating, and you're also, first of all, you're designating Home News Tribune to receive all notices until March 1st. And then starting March 1st, it says that the notices will be published on the municipal website and then also the bulletin board. And then there's a link that you have to direct the public to from your official website to check any notices. There's a special section. And then for the planning board and the Board of Adjustment will do the same thing. Applicants are still required to publish in an official newspaper. So you're designating Cranbury Press and Home News to do that. So they're still, and I think this was done, I don't even know if you need my comment, but I think it was done to save municipalities money because it was going to be pretty expensive to, newspapers could actually charge based on subscriptions. And so now that it's online, like how many subscriptions are that? Is that? It could be a lot, so. This
oh, okay, I
This is
see.
why it was done this way. Anyway, so that's what this resolution basically says. And if anyone wants notices of meetings or minutes under Oprah, they could get it through the official website. They don't, right? So.
Could I suggest?
Is there
Oh, go ahead. You
I
go
bet we're
first.
going to say the same thing.
Maybe.
Is there value to letting the public know over the next couple of months via maybe the mayor's newsletter
That's
or
exactly
something?
what I was going to say. Oh,
That the process is changing, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that do still go to
Yeah.
the newspapers. I think that just to let them know we're not.
I think that right now, under the law, you have to put a public notice out twice a month
Yeah,
that this
the
is
clerk.
of your process is happening. So, but the mayor's newsletter sounds good too.
Yeah,
that's
but you
additional.
publish things more than, you have updates regularly
We
with the,
have Township updates every Tuesday, and then the
every other Tuesday in between that. It alternates, and it's the mayor's update. So the mayor's
Yeah,
update.
so we
goes
got
out
that
the week
covered
after.
then.
So it's every week.
And I will say that it's a minimum requirement. I mean, the board could still opt, of course, you are funded by the committee, and the committee could still opt to put notices in the paper too, online. I mean, but most people aren't doing that. They're just going with the website and,
A free online thing sounds good to me.
yeah, so I'm just
So
saying.
how does that change for applicants that have
Applicants, it doesn't change
but
because
notifications for variances?
they will still have to publish in the two newspapers that, or
Okay.
one of two newspapers that you've designated. The Cranbury Press and Home News is an alternate, right?
Other way around.
The other way around? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
Well, that-
maybe you should just say, planning board designates Cranberry Press as the alternate, and then Home News as the
Yeah, I can
official?
change that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Just to say.
Do applicants have to, does it also have to get posted online on the website?
I haven't seen anything about that,
Okay.
whether they have to post online or not on the
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
We'll have to check into that, yeah. Because this is just a resolution of the planning board. Have you heard that they had to? I haven't.
No, I just think that for convenience.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's pursuant to the municipal land use law, so if it gets changed, then, then they will have to do that, you know. I haven't,
That's good.
Does the school board have to do the same, go in the same way?
We
Okay.
didn't know about that. We just did the Trenton Times for the year.
okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't look at the law with respect to school boards. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't know the Trenton Times is owned by the Star Ledger, so, and that's online only.
Yeah.
right. Right. Oh, no, some of these papers are only online. That's one of them, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure if it, I'd have to go back and look at the actual law to see if it, you know, well, your board attorney should do that for the school board.
I want to speak out of turn.
Okay.
Anyway,
So-
so we have a resolution that needs a, you know.
With
As,
amendment.
as,
With
as,
amendment.
as amended.
Yeah.
Okay. So can I have a resolution as designation of official newspaper for the next 3 months?
Yeah. Motion. Anybody?
Second?
Second.
All right. Roll call for the official newspapers. Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Giddings,
Yes.
Ms. Kinnear,
Yes.
Mr. Muselli,
Yes.
Mr. Polk,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
and Mr. Whitman.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, for, next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from December 4th, 2025. I don't know if everybody.
It was so fun writing these. It was like one page.
Yeah, there's- how many times did you hear me? When
I
are we
know.
getting out of here? Okay, any comments, corrections? Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Roll call for the December 4th minutes. Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Giddings,
Yes.
Ms. Kinnear,
Yes.
Mr. Polk,
Yes.
and Mr. Whitman.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public comments for non-agenda items. Seeing no public, I will close the public comments section for non-agenda items. And next item on the agenda is Resolution PB 402-25, Amazon Services LLC.
So, I didn't get any comments from your office. Did you have any? None? All right. And I didn't get any from Andrew Miranda either. So, and he's, or the applicant's attorney. So I guess we have none.
Okay. But I think we thoroughly, the night that we
They had a lot
really,
of time.
we thoroughly hashed that out. And I think Andrew was fine with it
Okay.
as of the night of the meeting.
All right, so I had done an original revision, which actually, I don't even know if that's in your package, but then I got a couple of little comments from David on the same day, and that's why this says revised on it. And then I noticed that there was a memo from the Cranbury Fire Company with some conditions, so I just incorporated that into this draft, and so there's very tiny little
Okay.
yeah. Changes, you want me to go through what they are?
You know what?
Yeah.
If it takes 3 seconds
It
or
does.
less,
All
okay,
right, it's-
yeah, I would do that.
So the first change was on page, let's see, I'm just paging through this one, on 8, where at the top where it talks about design waiver exception for the paved loading area. And I just specified that the turnaround analysis, there was, included both unloading and storage, so that word
Right.
was put in there. And then the next change was on page 11, when it talks about the engineering conditions that needed to be fulfilled, and it was just a revision to the word correct with respect to the architect's plans being revised to basically include revision dates on it. So it just used accurate instead of correct. That's just, just.
Okay.
And then the
I
other.
have a legal.
I don't think we could approve
I
it.
don't know. It's just some, preference. And then the Cranbury Volunteer Fire Company, that's on page 11 at the bottom, about an undated report. That's their normal language about
Okay.
apparatus and putting Knox box keys in and such. And that's also was as a comment and then as a condition. So on page 16.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, and so that can, that comment regarding the Magellan
Same thing with
Architects.
that,
Yeah.
right? Okay, and then the fire department repeats it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. So that's it.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments or questions? So I guess we'll propose that with the amended changes per you, Sharon. then.
Yep. Okay.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the resolution PB 405-25 as amended?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call for PB 402-25 resolution. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Knierim? Mr. Muselli?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
And Mr. Whitman?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion passed.
Okay, next item on the agenda is application PB 411-25 Kirshner Associate, Cranbury Gates. And it looks like that's being carried to the next meeting
Right.
again.
Yes, and they originally, the last meeting that we discussed this, it was, permitted for them to carry without further notice. So as long as you announce it, that it's, which you just did, to the next meeting, then they don't have to renotice.
Okay,
If I may, I don't think I'm going to make a 7:30 flight on February 5th to Germany if I'm here at the planning board. So I will not be here on February 5th.
Okay.
Being that Kersner is carried to the next meeting, February 5th, Aman will have to recuse herself, so just be aware of quorum,
Yeah,
that the both of us will then not be here for that.
got it.
Okay?
Thank you.
okay.
I mean, if it went the way of this meeting, we're moving
Well,
pretty
we-
quick, but I'd still have to hustle to Newark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I think this,
7:30.
yeah, you're not a.
I don't think hustling.
Nah,
You
it's
need a
not.
time machine.
Yes,
No,
that I
yeah,
would.
that's not happening. Okay, next item agenda is a working session. This is on the zoning subcommittee revisions, checks list and design guidelines. And I'm going to turn it over to Liz to guide us through this.
I am gonna turn it over to Dave to go through the checklist.
Okay,
And then, yeah, right? Do you wanna do
Sure,
that
that's
first?
fine.
Yeah,
Where is the checklist on this?
It's the highlighted, yeah, it's back further. There was a
Oh,
lot of papers for this
Take a look in
meeting.
your packet to see if you have a yellow marked checklist. It's important because Gina did a great job of highlighting the changes we made. So the zoning subcommittee went through the checklist and solicited comments and came up with a couple things, quite a few things. There are 60 items on our checklist now, maybe 61.
well, how many did we have before, just out of curiosity?
What's that? I'm sorry.
How many did we have on the?
The old
We had
one?
61.
Oh, we had 61.
Yeah.
I call it 60 because I
Oh,
thought the last
okay.
one was added without putting it in the ordinance. So it wasn't quite really enforceable, but we enforce it anyway. Now we have 75, and we have one extra category. We thought it was important to put in single-family/variance plan, meaning people that come in, you or me, with our house to try to change something at our house. It's good that there would be a little bit less of a rigorous set of requirements. So that's what we did. We set it up as a separate category. You can see by the items that are checked what things need to be put in place in order to have that type of application looked at by the board. The concept plan is about the same in terms of the amount of different things that are needed. But we also took the checklist and we divided it up into administrative, general, site plan and or subdivisions, and created different items based on what their need were. And second to last, design and reports, studies and calculations, which hopefully will make it a little bit more clear. Most of the time that the people that fill these out are either attorneys or architects or engineers. We're hoping to maybe make that audience a little bit, make them a little bit more knowledgeable on what to do and how to do. People that have been here before know pretty much how the Cranbury checklist works and what, for example, what I do or what Gina does. And I've hopefully trained some of the engineering firms and attorneys' offices to provide the information that's needed on the checklist. This now further refines it by giving more, I guess you could say, more onerous requirements for the site plans and subdivisions, and less for the minor subdivision, the single family, the variance plan, and the concept plan. So take a look through the various yellow marks. Those are the items that were changed or added. Okay, completely added were the ones that are in yellow. Things that were changed, you can see where there's, like on page 2, item 12, the words existing and proposed are put in there. The words in 14 shown on drawing. And so what we're trying to do is try to break up between the type of application, what was actually needed for that application. And you can see we spent a lot of time changing things and adding things. We did take out some things that were a little sort of repetitive. Okay. We made sure we put good information on recycling requests on that. We changed item 46 by adding things like grease traps, because a lot of the restaurants, we want to know and make sure that they're not pouring grease down our drains and clogging the sewers, et cetera. Okay. The design section has a lot of changes and additions, and things like scenic overlay, which we have sections of the ordinance on, and having to do with things having to do with knockouts and trailer storage, which would come up at a couple of meetings, like with Amazon. Okay, we made a little bit more. We gave the architectural item number 60 a little bit more beef so that they know what they have to provide. Okay. Number 63, and I'm skipping through because you can read most of them yourself. Rooftop information having to do with equipment and any signs or mechanical stuff that's up there has become quite a question on almost every commercial or industrial building. And then sight lines. We've been requesting sight lines on major site plans, well, almost the whole time I've been here, and since 2010. But it was never in the checklist, and people are providing it, happily providing, because they want to get their stuff approved, and it's not that hard today with AutoCAD to provide, a map showing what the site would look like from a certain point on, let's say, on a street somewhere, or from a residence, or whatever happens to be nearby. So, and then the item, for example, I'm skipped over it, but item 61, aerial, that's important. A lot of the newer, with today's digital world, everything. It's easy to throw a Google map on there and show where the site is and what's surrounding it. I use it all the time to understand where, what's near the site, and it's good to have it now on the plans. It's so easy to just pop it on. It takes 30 seconds in AutoCAD. So we combined a couple things having to do with drainage calcs showing, they have to have an area map showing what areas go to what places. The one comment, going through this today, I'd like to add, if nobody has any objections, I'd like to add an environmental impact number 73 on major preliminary subdivision, which, is it there? No, yes, it is. It's not there. So instead of three checks along the bottom on item 73, it'd be 4 checks, asking for major preliminary. So we get the environmental information as part of preliminary, not just as part of final, because preliminary pretty much you're approving it. And final is really just trying to square the edges and make things proper.
David, just for clarification, besides the single family where it's highlighted and there's no check mark,
Right.
where it's highlighted in yellow, we've removed the check mark,
Yes,
right?
Yes,
Okay,
to make it easier.
Just to make
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
everybody caught it.
because we didn't want it to be too difficult for the single family people
Or the minor.
or
subdivision
minor
on the site
variances,
plan,
yeah,
right? Like
that
those-
have
a
no,
lot of those
that
check
have
marks
no,
were
that have no site plan.
So everywhere where there's a check mark, that means it needs to be filled out for that particular item, correct?
That's right. No, I mean, an applicant can still, correct, Mr. Chairman, but the applicant can still ask for waivers. And I sometimes go.
Well, they could always ask for
Yeah.
anything.
And I
Absolutely.
sometimes go back and forth with them and said, like I said to them, I call them up and I say, they're not going to give you this waiver. You could ask for it, but you're going to get to the meeting, it's going to delay you 1 month. That type of thing. So they think about it strongly and decide what to do and what not to do. But they can always ask for a waiver for any one of these items. I believe in my position as the guy who does the completeness. If I can't convince them to not ask for the waiver, I have to let them go through to you guys. And if you notice in the last year, I've now been supplementing my letters with checklist items. Something I came up with a year ago. I decided to, as these guys or women or attorneys or engineering firms put in applications, sometimes they're so definite about how they're going to do it, and I can't change their mind. And I believe that the board needs more information. It then comes to you guys, and you have been very good about backing me up on most of them. So that's good. That's really about it for the checklist. I mean, there's a lot of change here, and what we got to do is we got to delete what's in the ordinance now. And Sharon and me were going back and forth today a little bit about that. There's a section under 150 that has the checklist, and it's not in this format. It's just a list, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that kind of a thing, under site plan, under subdivision. I don't know why we couldn't actually put this right in.
You could.
And so we'd like
Well,
to
that's
ask.
that was my next one. Could we do this and somebody can?
Yeah.
Is there any way this could be done where somebody could download it, fill it out electronically? I mean, go down along here and check a box. It's all like.
I think that's what they do, but yeah, once it's uploaded into our ordinances, you can cut and paste from the ordinance. I do it all the time. When I write my letters, usually the format gets a little weird and you got to play with it, but it works.
There's a section 89 and it's checklists, but it's all in a narrative. So, and it's arranged by, there's one section for a sketch plat and a concept plan, and there's set 23 items for that. And then there's the minor subdivision checklist. And so I was asking, did anyone check that against this checklist? Because you don't want to be inconsistent, right? So one of the things you have 2 alternatives here. You could amend each of these sections with the same items that are being added here, or we delete this section and then supplant it with the table instead. This whole checklist.
I would
And-
almost recommend
because I
that,
wouldn't
you're
wanna
never-
miss something.
Yeah, because
You know,
I think you're going to be, to try to get things to match up, you're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
It's never going to match.
I was going crazy just reading this with the
But-
old one, so
Yeah.
and then I thought, okay, then I would have to just go through each checklist.
No,
then
that
to
would
see
be
what was going on.
crazy. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
point is to streamline this
Simplicity.
thing.
Yeah,
Well,
And-
they should both be the same.
They-
Whatever
no matter
format
what. Yeah.
you choose,
But you
whether
could-
it's narrative or I guess you could call Excel.
you could call this a table or an
Table, yeah.
attachment and say, refer to attachment 1 for all our checklist requirements and it's in the ordinance. I've seen them in other people's ordinances like that. We just have to put it in
It's a
there.
Now, do we
It's a
have to,
PDF.
do we have to have an explanation for each one of these in written or it's self-explanatory?
I
on the
think it's
checklist?
pretty, well, on this checklist section right here, there's no explanation. It's a checklist.
Yeah, okay, so what, so
No,
yeah.
they just call me or they email me.
Yeah.
Ask me,
Yeah,
what do you really need?
Prior to that, there's separate sections for each type of approval that you have and what you have to do for those, and regarding final, for example, final approval, that's in section 87. It says for an application, you need to submit 3 copies of a final plan, and then who you send them to. I don't think there's anything inconsistent with those sections with this checklist. I would just double check.
Yeah, this
maybe.
doesn't really have those kind of things in
Yeah,
it.
I think they're separate. So I think that your checklist submission items, could be accomplished by a table like this.
Would there be any value to adding, for example, shade tree, a link to the shade tree? You reference shade tree and they have to go through the proper process. What about HPC or the fire department, like a live link that gets them to where they need to go because we're telling them they need to go there?
Okay, so we do have, for example, and right away, it's easy to find, historic preservation is number 3.
Right,
So you're asking for their review or approval.
right.
You're saying
Okay.
live.
I'm saying
link
just
there.
But
put
now-
a link
Digital
where they
version,
can
just
click
make
on
it
it and get to.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure in here somewhere, and I'm not finding it right now, is the Shade Tree Commission also.
There is, but I'm saying like add a link to how you get to the Shade Tree Commission.
Oh,
Or
link.
how you get to.
Yeah, like a hyperlink.
Right, like a hyperlink, so that they can click there and
We
say
could
this
do
is.
that. That's,
this-
I don't know if you can do it in the ordinance. It's
Yeah,
kind of
um,
weird.
Well, but it would, if you do it on the online version, you're not adding the URL.
Yeah, you could do it on
You're
here,
just having
online.
the word underlined,
Right.
and it's like
And
hidden.
then you hit that and it goes, boom, goes to Shade Tree Commission.
Right.
Getting into the 21st century
Look at us all fancy.
No, then we could do that, you know.
at the beginning of the second fourth of it.
I just thought of something else too. You see on the right side, it says applicant's mark.
Mhm.
How about engineer's mark after that?
We talked about that.
Did we?
Yeah, we did talk about
Okay,
that.
I don't remember that. But if you think about it, I'm always, when I go through these things, whether I do it digitally or I do it by longhand, I just write in the column on the right-hand side in the margin. And I'd rather have just a section, just an extra set of places for me to put an X or an O or a Y or whatever, or a check mark.
Now, I'm just looking at something here. Yeah, there's a section 150-84, which is general provisions. And I think we should just double check for that because I'm looking at some of the requirements and it's like for D under that section, environmental impact statements, when required, it's required for all preliminary major subdivision and site plan applications and all applications for phase 1 preliminary. So does that comport with
Let
our
me just get to it.
checklist?
Read,
Yeah.
read it again.
All right, so this is a general provision under
Okay.
150-84. And then
It's
under,
required for.
required for all preliminary major subdivision and preliminary major site plan. So do we require,
Okay, yes, we have both of those.
okay, do we
Marked here,
require it
yes.
for anything else though? Let me-
Just the finals.
The finals, okay, so
But it
then,
would be the same report usually, not
Okay.
always.
all right, well then, maybe we should, I don't know, add that for finals too or something, but.
Oh, you mean in that section?
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know.
I just don't
We're
want to be
going to a different
inconsistent.
section now, right?
Yeah, it's in a different section. That's why I wanted to check these sections to make sure that they're just all compatible.
Well, every ordinance that I've ever seen always has one of those paragraphs at the bottom that says, if it's not compatible with a previous ordinance,
Well, I understand that. It'll be in here.
either that's stricken or this
It'll
is
be
stricken.
over, supplanted, basically. All right. And then, like, for minor subdivision and minor site plan approval, it does say that these applications will be going to Environmental Commission and Soil Conservation District. So, I mean, they are going to outside agencies. in
Right,
some-
and that was never part of the checklist per se, but we did
Right,
add.
it's an instruction for
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you,
we did, that's sort of part of the application.
right, so I don't
Um,
think it's inconsistent.
Yeah. I mean, we do have in here Historic Preservation Commission because that's come up, and somewhere in here is also the shade tree.
Yeah, see, I don't see, all right, so maybe that's something where the Shade Tree Commission should be added to some of these other sections, not in the checklist maybe, but if it's supposed to be, if it is supposed to be submitted, then it should be added to these other, because like there's one, section 150-86 is a narrative specific to preliminary, major, and site plan approval, and it's got these other, it's got Middlesex County Planning Board, Freehold Soil Conservation, Township Historic Pres, but if it's supposed to go to the shade tree, that should be added there too.
Could be, or could it just be on our application? I mean,
Well, I think you would be subject to challenge if it's in one section and not in the other.
okay.
So I think it should be added. Yeah.
So in essence, what we're going to be doing is cleaning up the written language in the ordinance
Match our checklist.
and then put the checklist in there and get rid of the verbiage that was in there, that the checklist would replace that verbiage then, within one section.
Yes, yes. But then we have the two other items in the section that Sharon was just talking about that need to be also amended.
I just found something just because it came up at the last minor subdivision we had where they said, your checklist doesn't require us to do a landscape plan. And we had wanted them to show us the landscaping and we have in 150-56, it says all site plan or subdivision applications have to provide a landscape plan. So we have minor subdivision that they don't have to. But maybe we should add that checklist. What do you think?
Truthfully, I don't think so. Minor?
Because, that was
Because
what.
most minor subdivisions are a person that's subdividing off his or her backyard. And there's no, like we did have the one that came in, was it Maplewood?
Yeah, that one. That's the one where they said we didn't have to do it.
And
Yeah.
they didn't provide one. Is it going to turn out horribly? Most homeowners do their own landscaping. I don't know if you want to tie a new homeowner into a landscaping plan that they don't like. I don't know. It's really, in the 5 or 6 towns I work for right now, I don't know of anybody that requires a landscaping plan for a single family home, which is really the byproduct of a minor subdivision. If it's 3 of them or 4 of them, yeah, then it becomes a major subdivision. You got to do
Yeah,
it.
I wouldn't, this is just talking off the cuff here. I don't envision a lot of these happening in town personally. So why make people do this if we were in a circumstance where we're getting one every other week, that'd be a different story. But these come up, they're rare, to be honest with you.
So then
Somebody subdividing a lot.
We should change the ordinance. Change the ordinance to take it out, to make it clearer.
Yeah.
So wait, what did it say?
It says that all site plan or subdivisions have to provide a landscape.
Well, but okay, but a single family, a minor subdivision, it should say major.
Yeah, we probably should revise that. Let's just make a note to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it was, all right, so this is a blanket requirement for every site plan or subdivision right here in 150-56B,
Mhm.
right? That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So that one should be modified.
Yeah.
But is there a reason, if someone requests a variance where they might want a landscape plan because of, I don't know, some condition on the property?
I mean, an example was the Griggs subdivision, because they were running the easements through the other property and, so that was a case where we kind of needed the existing landscape plan.
And so if you're
Not proposed, but existing.
applying for a variance, that's another condition because you would normally maybe not require that for a minor, but here we are requesting a variance because we
To
have,
make to subdivide the property, yeah.
you know, public health, safety and welfare. So then you could require a landscape plan
Okay.
Yeah.
at that point because,
They could always
know.
seek a waiver.
and they could seek a waiver. Yeah, that's true. Well,
On subdivisions, most of the, I mean, back in the old days when I used to actually prepare lots of subdivisions and site plans with 100 homes or whatever, we would usually do buffering, landscaping for buffering, for street edges, for entranceways, maybe around a pool or something, if there's a pool for the association. But then on a single family or on a single plot inside that subdivision, I would do like a typical landscape. You got to have ground plantings. You got to have maybe some plantings towards the back of the property to subdivide from one property to the back. And maybe something else, I don't know. But it was not something that each individual property would then come in with something that is better than that. When you build a expensive house, usually you want to have a nice landscaping plan. And I don't know, again, I don't think that you should tie a homeowner into a landscaping plan when they probably haven't thought about that yet. When maybe when it's time, the guy gets a bonus or she gets a bonus or something, and they decide to spend a bunch of money on $30,000 on landscaping. Well, wonderful.
Yeah, I agree that we shouldn't ask for the proposed. I think we should ask for the existing though, because there might be a
Well, let's see
24-inch
if there's
diameter
something
tree
in
where
here
they
that
want
shows
to
that.
show the driveway and we don't know it because their survey doesn't show. Like Princeton, requires you to show all the existing landscaping when you're doing,
Let's see if it says something in that with
some
like
major
having to do
work.
with.
and sometimes there's an issue. I in another town, somebody went and clear cut vegetation about 20% of the lot, all the trees, which then caused a stormwater issue. And then they needed a variance, to develop.
Yeah, we
the
wouldn't want them doing
properties.
that. That's a
And,
20-yard penalty, so.
So they did have to provide a landscape plan as a, mitigation measure in order to get their variance approved, but it wasn't on the checklist, but it was, they basically
67 is as close as. we get.
caused, a bunch of stormwater issues on this property because of the loss of all the trees,
51?
So
that's just.
I could see it
site
coming
plans
up
or
in some
subdivisions, but-
circumstances.
67 is where we have it, and it's not checked for minor.
And 51 also,
Yeah, and that's where we reference the shade tree.
yeah. And that one is checked for minor, but you said 61?
So do we have to change the verbiage in the ordinance, though, to reflect that?
Right now, let's see, you require it for everything, and then
Because it's referencing the ordinance.
and for let's see, number 67, 67 does not require it for a landscape, so you would have to change it. The 150-56 with the landscaping to remove
Minor.
for a minor. To just clarify, it would be for a major, I guess, is what, right?
Mhm, Yep.
And that's for a subdivision that wouldn't require a variance then? Is that-
Right.
Because if it requires a variance, then,
Well, right now, let's see, we took out the check mark for the single family / variance plan because it's yellow with blank.
No, that's meaning it was added completely. So the single family
The whole
variance,
column was added.
the whole
like
column is
overall.
yellow because it's a new category.
Yeah, so there was nothing there
There
previously
was
at all.
nothing there
Okay, so
previously.
do you want a check mark in there then?
Which item are you talking about, Sharon?
It's number
67.
67. It's a landscape plan when you have a single family and a variance. Or not.
Why does a variance change whether or not?
Only if there's an issue with people's views.
Could be.
well,
You
on the
know?
last one,
And I-
Bill was right, there was a right-of-way issue that ran through the property.
You were concerned with the existing trees.
I was more concerned with the
Yeah.
existing,
Yeah,
not proposed.
And if you want to leave it on a case-by-case basis, then you don't put it in as a requirement.
what would the largest minor subdivision be? Is it only residential or could it be?
It could be commercial, but it's usually if you're creating fewer than 3 lots. I have to double check, but it's like if you're taking 1 lot and making 2, that's typically
That's
minor.
definitely a minor. And then
But-
after that, bigger is usually a major.
But it could be like Amazon.
But then they would
Yeah,
still have to come with a site plan for
Yeah,
everything
That's
else.
true. That's true.
I mean, we could amend 67 to have both existing and proposed landscaping. You know, I mean, it's actually a good idea because you think about it, almost every
Yeah,
large property that comes in, you want to know what's out there.
right, correct. I think that's
Because you might
right.
want to save a tree or save
Right.
a grouping of.
Or the
something.
trees in the, a 200-year-old tree is right where your driveway is going to be.
But you have that in 51, you're showing existing trees to be protected and trees to be removed in 51. So we're talking, it's 2 different things. We're talking about trees in 51 and we're talking about landscaping in 67.
Well, 67 is future, it's proposed, right?
Right.
And 51 is existing.
So she's saying you don't have to do existing.
But the thing about 51 is they really are focusing on, trees only.
Right.
And that's 6 inches or bigger.
Would landscaping include trees?
Yes, but 6 inches or bigger does not include all landscaping.
Right.
So, I mean, do you care if there's a small birch somewhere or a cotoneaster, or somebody else can be better at me better than me in knowing different plant names, hydrangea or something, and it's going to get removed as opposed to a large old oak tree. Yeah.
Maybe something you don't care, but you gotta draw a line somewhere. And it's not insane.
Well, I think we, I think we have what we need in the checklist.
Literally.
We should have.
It's just these things, weeds.
You better remove those weeds.
Show existing
Stop
weeds.
by my house and help.
All right, how do we want to leave that? I mean,
That's up to you folks. You were either going to, eventually
well, we have
change.
to be consistent.
Well, I know.
between-
That's
yeah,
right.
whatever
Whichever
we
you decide to
need
do.
be Consistent.
So what your choices is in the ordinance, remove the landscape plan for minor
Minors, right,
and have it be major and,
right.
And site plan.
and which is how the checklist is represented now,
Mhm.
correct? Because we don't
Yeah.
have minor checked,
Right, minor subdivision. We do have minor site plan, but not minor.
not minor
subdivision.
subdivision.
Right.
But does it mean we couldn't ask for that on the applicant?
No, you can. But when they came in, they were like, we weren't supposed to,
Right.
and so. anyway.
Well, the thing is, if somebody's asking for a variance, especially maybe a use variance, well, it wouldn't be this board. One of the special reasons for approving it could be landscaping.
Mm.
It could soften the blow, in other words.
Mhm.
So there you ask for it, you ask for it and they give it to you, and that gives you a reason to say yes to the application.
Well, it's the same for a C variance too.
See, that's
You know,
what I feel.
Setback
Yeah.
variances, and they
Mhm.
could be, if it was a C variance and there was a subdivision, they'd be in front of the planning board for that one.
Right.
So you could ask for it then.
So I believe this is a way better checklist than it was previously, and I urge the board to adopt it and send a letter to a letter or note to the mayor and council to,
What's the
Substitute it.
mechanics of doing all of this? Is it time-wise, I guess?
It's up to I don't know how how the committee wants to handle ordinances. Do they, at the meeting, say, we've seen a recommendation from either the zoning subcommittee or the planning board? Because it's going to come back to the planning board anyway for review for consistency with the master plan. So the ordinance could either be generated by the township committee or by the planning board, depending on what the township committee says. If they say, well, all right, we want the, planning board or planner to prepare the ordinance or whoever, and the township attorney can do that. I could draft it, whatever you want to do,
Okay. I mean, I would recommend it come from the planning board.
Yeah.
And be drafted here. That's who it impacts on a meeting.
So as a practical matter today, since there's a bunch of things that it sounds like you have to change.
This is,
We would be approving it in concept with all the changes discussed. You would then come back with an actual draft that we would recommend that the township committee adopt.
right.
Then it goes to the township committee for adoption and or change. Then it comes back to us for consistency.
Yes. Yep, that's how it's done.
Okay.
And it's-
So
and it-
we're looking at maybe getting this done by the end of March, maybe?
Well, this is only the first item of about 3 or 4.
Well, that's,
So-
that's a second question, actually, which is, do you want to, and this is again a township committee question, do you want to parcel these out? Meaning there are going to be changes all over the place, and do you want to take some of it piecemeal?
I mean, honestly, I think it should be one body of work.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah, I wouldn't do it piecemeal. That's just,
It's a biggie.
that's gonna drag it out.
Okay.
Okay,
Then all these
It
items?
might be later
yeah.
that it fully goes through, but it goes through as one comprehensive body of work, which is
Okay.
really what the subcommittee was tasked with doing, right?
So once we finish all this tonight, we have to decide whether Sharon or the planner or the town attorney put together the final draft.
Well, she already said she'd rather come from the planning board, so it wouldn't be.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
Lisa
coming
did.
from us.
It
Okay.
should be the township.
Yeah.
No, it's, well, usually it comes from the town attorney, almost always.
Well,
Whether it's recommended by us or not is not even that important until it gets put in
Well,
ordinance.
is it out of line for us to
if the
No, I don't think
township
so.
committee tells us to do it, we could do it,
Yeah.
So, but if not,
We,
this is
we're in
what
the
hap-
trenches.
I'm-
It doesn't sound like we're voting on anything yet tonight.
No.
Because we're going to have given you notes on one piece of what we've noticed.
Yes.
To be a comprehensive package, so hopefully next time we don't have to go through this part, but we'll go through another part and then it'll all come together as a master vote. And between now and then, offline, there can be a sorting out of who drafts.
just because I've done it both ways, sometimes I'll get as the town attorney, I would get an ordinance that's pretty much in ready to go, and it might come from the planner's office or whatever, and then I would go and look through it for boilerplate. There's just provisions that you just add to all ordinances mechanically to them and say, okay, you need to add this, whatever, and I would put it in final form, so it could be done that way, or tell me to do it, I think the town attorney still needs to check it no matter
Sure.
what, because
Oh,
it's
yeah,
his
no,
thing,
I'm not saying we're just gonna
Yeah.
bypass it, but I think.
Yeah. But we can put it
should- we should
together.
Craft it and then send it to the township attorney.
It's the only way it makes sense, because you will have
Well, I
listened
mean,
to
yeah.
this entire discussion.
Yes.
And anything else is going to be telephoned.
Okay.
I mean, why put Kevin through this? I mean, honestly.
This could be.
Steve,
Steve,
good to help.
yeah.
Why would we
Poor
put
Steve.
Steve through this?
He probably, would rather not go through all this again.
Absolutely.
I think that's
So, I mean,
This is a pretty big job here.
Yeah,
Yeah, just put me,
yeah.
no, but
yeah, it's fine.
But our people we're already into this. Why, we're just reinventing the wheel if we have to re-educate everybody else to do this. It's just better if we put it together, send it over, and then the attorneys can cross-check with back and forth with one another. Oops, sorry. And then, we go from there then. That's it. That seems logical to me. I like the checklist. I mean, just out of curiosity, what would you envision an applicant, let's say, coming in to, as an example, put a generator on their property, an industrial group? They'll just use this checklist, go down and.
They can use minor site plan,
Right.
and use that, and that'd be a lot.
But I
less
mean,
work.
they would use this checklist to go down and just,
Yeah.
if it's applicable, fine. If it's not, they check it off. It's not applicable.
Right,
and
and
they
if
go
I
down.
agree with it, then it goes forward, and,
Well, that's existed before today. You've just improved it.
Right.
Just revising adding some new things, revising it, trying to streamline some other things. I mean,
I think there are things in here that are designed to help the applicant.
Well, that's what I meant. I
Yeah,
mean,
so that
yeah.
they come in and they're ready to talk about certain things that are important to the board, which hopefully the checklist has conveyed to them.
The checklist improvements are mutually beneficial to the applicant and the planning board, which was the whole intent.
Yeah, because I really want, I had more in the past year where we're building the plane as we're flying it down the runway, and I don't want to waste the board time doing that. It's silly. Either they come to the DRC first and we work out this stuff, or they really pay attention to these checklists and they come in and it's all cut and dry and they know what they got to present, and then, you know.
so if we're doing one omnibus type of ordinance here and we're going to add these other things, you know, amendments like commercial design standards and all that, then that's the meat section of the ordinance,
Okay.
right? So I could then amend the one landscaping section to just put in that it only is going to be applicable to major subdivisions, if that's what we want to do. And that could be part of the whole thing.
Okay.
And then, because then it will be consistent with this checklist. And then another section of the ordinance will be the adoption of the checklist. So-
Okay.
So the 4 things that I captured for the checklist were replace the ordinance with the actual checklist,
Right.
Right.
add a hyperlink potentially for HPC and shade tree, add the engineer's mark column,
Yep.
and then the last thing you just said, Sharon, which is in the ordinance, remove the minor, right?
We're going to just, we're
That
going
would be
to add the word
major.
major. Yeah, it doesn't actually say anything. It just says subdivision, so.
And I requested the EIS on a major preliminary subdivision on item 73.
Right.
Did we need, for the checklist, did we need a list of definitions for the checklist? Do we need that? or
Well,
no?
they're in the ordinance.
Okay.
We didn't go through them.
Okay.
That's another whole situation.
We have chickens first. Chickens come before the.
Oh, I know that.
I'm just
Oh,
telling
yeah,
you, on
that's,
our-
that's the
on our
board's
list.
priority this year, chickens. Been told that. Okay, so there is the separate section with list of definitions. Okay. Oh, I did have one thing on the checklist. Let's see if I. Number 19, let's cross-reference. Number 19 here.
First applicant will be.
On item number,
Checklist.
on item number 19, where we have names block numbered, do we have anything that we have to have proof that those people were contacted? You could always give it, there could always been a list of who it was sent out for. Do we have anything in there that there was proof of contact?
Well, Sharon reviews that before.
Right, they're, by law, the applicants are required to request a list of property owners from the tax assessor, and then they have to, before the public hearing, they have to notify everybody. So
Right, but
now I
is
have to
there
check.
anything, I mean, yeah, they notify, but is there anything that says that they have to show that they received information back from the people that they notified? Do we have anything like that? In other words, proof that, an actual proof that the person that received it and
Well,
got
they
the
have to
information.
serve them by certified mail.
Right.
And the law is that they just have to show that they mailed it out to them by certified mail. They, not that they actually received it. And then I don't think by law that we could go beyond that.
Okay.
You know, we can't require like super notice that you actually received it. Now, there's
Return
a-
receipt requested?
Yeah, it's return receipt requested. So if the applicant's required to give you the white notice,
Right.
that section, and the green cards, which
Right.
show that they did receive. But if they don't get anything back, they're not required to.
Okay, but as long as there's something that shows that they were served the paper, or that they were, it was,
The white
Okay.
receipt to show it was mailed out. It's got the stamp from the post office on it.
okay,
Yeah, and it shows what date it was mailed.
Okay.
So,
Because I want to avoid the situation of like what happened with with the person on Dye Road where
well, you
they,
know,
it looked like, I saw the application, it looked like they were sent out, but I don't know, he said he never got it, so I
When
know,
they came here.
yeah. So,
yeah, and, strange things happen sometimes. The applicant's entitled to rely on the list that they get from the tax assessor.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have situations where people move
right,
and then there's somebody new in there, they don't get notice, and it's whatever's the most current tax list is.
Okay.
So, it's not much you can do.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say you might, I don't know if you would agree, but in every town that I work in, somebody will get up during a controversial application and say they didn't get noticed.
Pretty much.
I mean, it is just, it is par for the course, whether that's true or not.
If you've got the white receipt and
Yeah.
especially the green card,
Yeah.
then they were served.
So the green card, the resident signs, right?
It's the one they signed,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know what happened there, but unfortunately.
Okay. That's all I had on that.
All right, you want me to start then on the
Yeah.
next stuff? So there are 3 separate handouts. So I'm going to start with the one that's G, Cranbury Village Historic District Design Guidelines. So it doesn't have a heading, but it's actually from section 150-41. And you'll notice there's like roof shapes on the first page. So,
This
Is
one?
that the old one?
That's the old one.
Did she move it?
I don't know if I got the new one here. Did I get the new one? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So this is the general section for design guidelines, but subsection G was the Cranbury Village Historic District.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we spoke about this last time, but HPC in chapter 93 has their own design guidelines, and they differ from what's in here. So it was sort of 2 sets of guidelines that are applying to the same area. And after a lot of discussion, both on the subcommittee, but also discussion with HPC, we thought it was best to just have a reference in this section that to look at 93.7, and and maybe Sharon can verify that this is true, is that because we have this reference and we incorporated it herein, that we can hold people to those design standards at this board.
I think you should be all right with that because you've referenced to them. Now you're saying, okay, I've incorporated this 93.7 into my land use ordinance. So I think you're good.
So, this is removing a whole bunch of sections of the ordinance. It's a very pretty section with all these drawings, but it's, at this point, sort of.
Well, it's redundant.
It's redundant and confusing, I think, if you're an applicant.
Especially if you're an applicant that's going before HPC and you're referencing this and in front of HPC, they're in chapter 93 and it's just gonna,
So we're
Cause the
taking
same
out
problems
out
there.
all these pretty pictures and
yeah, they're gone.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, on a parallel track, the HPC, we're in the process of amending chapter 93 to, based on this board's direction, sort of have a separate set of standards for contributing and non-contributing historic buildings, right? So, they're kind of working on that. It's just better this way. It's a little more streamlined and a little more consolidated into one area.
I was today years old when I learned that there was a roof style called hip.
Yeah.
I had a hip roof.
You got a
You have a hip roof.
man.
Yes, you do.
So Liz,
yeah,
on
sure,
that
go ahead.
one. So doesn't the MC district also reference this section?
So the CM, you mean this?
Yes, yeah,
Okay, the
sorry.
CM district is another big question that
Okay,
but hold your
Okay.
questions until CM, because to me, that's really complicated. But if you look at sort of at the end of all the red lines, there's subsection I, which has industrial design standards. And then a couple of pages after that, which is really the last 2 pages in your packet, you'll see a bunch of crossouts on the very last page of this. And the reason for that is because back in 2021, we amended the signage ordinance, and these regulations are all in that section of the ordinance. They were all moved into one place, but they weren't taken out of the place that they were coming from. So this is now, again, it's a redundancy. So this is sort of it's a cleanup item, basically, something that by accident wasn't done in 2021. So I don't know if anybody has, aside from the CM question, if anybody has any.
I don't want to digress here, but I'm gonna, on our signage ordinance, I don't think there's one applicant that's come in that has agreed to our ordinance. And everyone we've had to give a variance on. So is this something, while we're cleaning the kitty litter box up here and cleaning all this stuff up, is this a good time to maybe look at that again? Because we have, nobody has come in with it and agreed upon with that. Everybody's
We don't have to, Mr. Chairman, we don't have to give a variance, right? So
I
maybe it's
know
better
that,
to
we're
always
given,
have that hammer.
I know that, but we've given a variance for everything.
But, so I just want to.
You're right.
And that's one, I think, school of thought, which I actually think is good in a lot of occasions. But one thing that Evelyn really liked, and I have it, and I've did this exercise where there are one of the applicants, and I'm going to blank on who it was, but it was somebody that was along the Arnie, was it Arnie? Okay, but they're along the turnpike, and they provided an equation. If you're driving this 65 miles an hour, you need the sign to be this long and this high. And it was
the electric, it was,
It was Arnie Associates. They did provide an
It was
equation.
Arnie.
Yes.
It wasn't Cooper Electric.
It wasn't Cooper Electric?
No, it was Arnie, but
Yeah,
and
Cooper
I
asked for a variance too, I think.
Right.
But Evelyn, I think, liked it because at the very least, it wasn't just grabbing a number out of the air, which is what a lot of signage ordinances are. Meaning, if you have some basis for saying this really should only be 200 square feet, and somebody comes in and said, no, we need 500, and it's, why?
Well, all we really need to talk about today is whether we want to give them the assignment. Of making that. something
Well,
to look at is all
if you want to keep it as is, and with the understanding that we can still keep handing out variances based on maybe some good logic there,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, but it just seems like it's the one area that we just, okay. We seem like we're always, say, yeah, we give you a variance, and it's not like they're major, like it's not like, ours says 200 and they want like 700, it's like, we need 300. And I say, all right, we'll give you the variance for 300 or something like that. But if we feel that we want to leave it and have the ability to deny it anytime we want to, for whatever reason, then I'm okay with that too.
I think it leads to a long discussion, and I think there's a happy medium between just having some standard that is so loose that it never becomes an issue, and having to listen to half an hour or more of testimony on it every single time. I think the point you were making at the beginning was maybe we've learned a lot from these variance requests that our current one is a little overly restrictive, particularly as it relates to size, particularly as it relates to the frontage along the turnpike.
Industrial buildings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm talking,
I'd be up for asking them to take a look at it.
I'm talking about industrial. I'm not talking about
Main Street.
Main Street or light commercial or anything like that. That's a different story. I'm talking about our industrial base out there.
And I know Evelyn was really specifically focused on the turnpike, but that doesn't necessarily, we can look at it just in general. But I think she was sort of, the idea that people are driving a certain speed and,
Yeah, but I would qualify that we're not asking you to relook at all of the sign ordinance.
100%. But I guess my question is, within the industrial zones, is it only the turnpike that you're considering?
To take a look at it.
I would think it would be all.
It'd
all-
be-
But I mean,
It
I would
is.
say the bias of the planning board is still going to be that we don't want ginormous signs on Route 130 and stuff like that. So I mean, take that spirit in mind.
Yeah, but anything over Route 130, that's highway commercial. That's not industrial. Well, there are industrial.
There are some
Yeah,
industrials
that's right. There is.
So an industrial signage review
Mhm.
is what's
Yeah.
being requested.
And it's more of a review for consistency. If there's it's something that you can come up with to just kind of reflect back on everything we've done.
We have, even Richard Price had a whole compilation of all of the variances that had been given.
Greatest
for-
hits.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, because it always comes up, well, what have we looked at? What have we done in the past? And so I can just add to it.
Yeah, that's the one area, that's the one thing that just kind of jumps out. I mean, everything else is pretty much nuts and bolts. I mean, we go through it, but it's like, and you're right, Jason, we sit here and talk a half an hour and you're 45
least.
minutes on a, is it 250? Is it 200? Can you see it going 70 miles an hour down the turnpike? And it's like, in the end of the day, we're usually given some kind of relief on it,
Right. If there was a history of us
Oh,
pushing back, that would be one thing, but there's not a history of us having
No.
a significant objection to these changes. And it was still worthwhile to do it in the beginning because I think we learned from it. But we therefore eventually agreed with it because we agreed with it. And if you have a record of doing that 10 times, I think there's enough data points there to suggest that there's room for a change.
at least to look at it.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it.
And again, just for the industrial area,
Mhm.
everything else stays status quo. Highway commercial or, signs in the front of your house or whatever.
No
all right.
problems. Because we had already started to do that with Evelyn. so
All right,
it's fine.
sorry to digress on that.
No,
So
that's no
Before
problem.
you digress, did anyone have any comments on the historic changes? I did not, but I'm just asking.
I don't.
Okay, all right. So the next group that I want to go through is, it starts with 150-42 commercial design standards.
I had a question in this one.
Okay.
Why, I understand why it might have been in there originally, but why in the revision are we maintaining all the specific language for a future development that's already been done?
Okay, so that, hold your question.
Okay.
Because that.
Hold on.
This is it's a good question.
Okay.
So, let's just get there first. So some of this stuff up front that you'll see on the first page, it's a lot of, honestly, a little bit of wordsmithing because some of the language as it stands is confusing to everybody. So, if anybody has any specific questions, but it's not a lot of brand new stuff. It's just trying to make it clear to everybody.
I did,
Yeah.
I guess on my old one, but it looks like it's the same thing on D and E.
Mhm.
I had a question on it, but I don't know what the question was. I just have question mark on my paper. Dummy me. I
Maybe
just,
because of the word primary or orientation? Does that make a difference?
maybe that's what it was.
Wait.
Well, 75 feet and then 90 feet. There's like 175, 190, and then it says on which it has a primary.
Yeah, it looked like there were, it looks like it was, I didn't understand why the two.
And it does say that in the ordinance right now.
Yeah, no, it's not a change. It was, the only thing we changed was public right of way versus lot line, because sometimes that's confusing. But I guess what the primary orientation, we could say,
Yeah, because it looks, I didn't understand what the reference was, because it looks like one's 75 and one's 90.
and that's how it is now. So it's 75, like it's the front of the building
Right.
is 90 and the sides are 75.
Okay,
But I agree, it's not a great
It doesn't seem clear to me.
No, you're right. So we could say, what, we have language further on about,
Can we say front and sides or something like that, or
we could say this, the.
side yard or
primary
front yard
street
or,
facing.
I think the issue becomes corner properties.
Yeah,
right,
which,
which is a whole nother animal.
We have minimum of 75 feet from the public right of way and then maximum of 90 from the, on which it has
Oh, right.
primary orientation.
yeah.
Picture that.
Yeah. So your question is, is there a better way of saying it on which it has its primary orientation?
Right.
All right. Let me look into it rather than try to come up with it now, but it could be, primary street facing facade or something like that. But you're right, it's complicated.
And then I had a question right just south of that on item number 2, pedestrian circulation. It said sidewalks shall not be required along Route 130 in the highway commercial zone. However, they shall be required along other public streets.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is now. I mean, the language that we added was that we don't require it on the HC, but all the feedback we get from applicants is the county says you have to provide it.
Right. So why don't we say that?
What, you want to just say, because we said unless required by Middlesex County, but
Is required.
yeah.
Or the DOT for that matter.
Yeah, so maybe we should say sidewalks shall be required along Route 130, or
I think we're going to be addressing that sooner than later. So I think we should make that change now
okay.
because we're going to be faced with that sooner than later.
Do I need to call out Route 130?
What's that?
Do I need to call out Route 130? I mean, if we're saying that they're
Yes.
required along all other public streets, then, do you know what I mean?
Well, Route 130's Highway Route 130.
Okay.
I would US Route 130.
Okay, so let me just take that.
Um,
All right.
Now, we don't need anything along the turnpike, right?
Are there any properties that front that? I guess
Yeah,
Amazon.
there are a bunch of properties that front the turnpike,
But there's no access.
but there's no access
Well, that's what I meant.
to town, essentially.
Pedestrian walking on.
But I think we're going to be faced with a sidewalk situation along Route 130.
So should
Sooner
we
than
just
later.
say sidewalks are required at
Yeah.
all streets, all roadways except for the turnpike?
Right.
Okay, all right, so sidewalks pursuant to section 150-4 shall be required along all public streets except the New Jersey Turnpike.
That gives you the out for Route 130.
Well, if the county says they don't want them,
That's a difference, unless
then what do we do? Give a variance from that section? Or
well,
waiver?
do we put that verbiage in there unless determined as not needed by a higher authority, whatever that higher
Well,
authority
either
may
the
be?
NJDOT or Middlesex County.
That will
All right.
become, it says, God has told me.
Yeah, I'm not putting in sidewalks. So what are you going to do about it? I had a dream last night.
DOT has been moving towards asking for sidewalks more,
Yeah.
so.
Well, the reason why I'm saying this now is we're going to be faced with a situation sooner than later. And that we're going to have to deal with this, and it's better we change it now. And if we need to put verbiage, unless, the county or the state does not require it. I mean, the applicant can always throw a hissy fit and say, well, we're going to appeal this up to the county DOT and whatever, and, have at it then, I guess.
First of all, I'm supportive of sidewalks everywhere. I think it's just pedestrianly friendly. I would think the language should just be unless, something to the effect of, unless the county or state specifically recommend against it or some, I mean, that, there's a better wording than that, but, I mean, it wouldn't be that if they don't require it, because then that would be neutral, and I would say we're not neutral. But if
Subject
they
to the approval or
specifically,
denial of the state or the county.
right, I mean, something to the effect of if the state or county doesn't want it, then that's fine, but otherwise.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
Like a reversal for you, there was something like 3 months.
Yeah, I know.
ago where you were all
I'm
against the
changing my
sidewalks.
mind now. Yeah. I saw the light. How's that? Somebody talked to
Which
me.
is a good transition to our lifetime.
No, so on page 2, the version you had was all highlighted and it said like, I need to check with Andy Ferranda. And so I did. So on this section, you'll see he did a little wordsmithing on page 2, which is just part under 3 subsection B. There's parking ratio reductions, and he just did a little, I guess, wordsmithing so that it made sense to him. Or, you know, that he
Okay.
thought was an improvements. Then, okay, so this is, we're talking about this is the HC commercial zone. And so we did, again, some of this wordsmithing, 60% of, instead of the front facade areas, we said the primary street facing facade. And we also were saying that it has to be to finished occupied space, so you know, it can't be to mechanical space, essentially.
I see stuck.
You almost should do a definition of primary street
Street facing.
or just primary street. Most ordinances in this situation refer to the street hierarchy in the master plan.
Mm.
Whether it's, you know, from state to county to collector to, you know, right down to a residential street. So, you know, a primary street would be a primary street facing on that frontage, I think, that's how I'd read it. So whatever the site plan shows and wherever that building is facing, that becomes the primary side,
Mhm.
even though it may not be the master plan primary side.
Correct.
So you
Well, the
think,
primary site could be Route 130 or George Davison Road, right?
right.
Right.
So you're thinking primary street's confusing because that's like a term of art.
I
Yeah.
just think we should define it some way.
Okay.
You know, either site defined or master plan defined.
Okay. All right. That comes up a few times.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So going along, you turn to page 5, and this has to do with materials. And it was good to have Bill on the committee because he could provide his expertise on this. But it's F materials, subsection 2, and then A, B, and C. So saying that, you know, acrylic stucco over stud framing is not appropriate. And then saying materials that age and are difficult to maintain, and take out that such as paint over shopped finished metal. Do you know why we did that?
To not give them an example.
Okay, I
right?
see.
Is that right, Bill? I remember that.
Okay. All right.
For instance, this isn't appropriate.
Yeah, don't even think about it. Yeah.
Now, I had a question on number 3 there.
The security grates.
Yeah, but a garage window grill should be enlivened with artwork. Is that allowed or not allowed? Or what, is that something we want?
It's saying to, in the event, this is, I can tell.
Because that could get kind of subjective, if you know what I mean.
I can tell someone in my firm wrote this, so.
Yeah, but that's
And I know, we could.
Yeah.
But it,
Yeah, because I mean, are we going to paint murals on the side of things? I
Yeah.
mean, you could get,
all right,
Again,
how
it's-
about,
But we had one applicant that came in, we asked him for tinting or painting of the rear windows, remember?
yes.
The old Phoebus property.
why don't I say enlivened with decorative tiling or ornamental metalwork?
Ornamental materials, why metalwork?
Okay, materials, okay,
Mhm.
all right. And get out,
Artwork out.
yeah. And I'm gonna take tiling out as well, actually.
Yeah.
Tiling, okay. All right, so building detailing, it's talking about, having active street frontage, but not making them have to do it if it's on a corner lot and all of their mechanicals are on one side. And then a lot of okay, here we come down again. This is under, on page 6, B, pedestrian circulation, saying it's not required along Route 130. So this, and then I say unless required by the state DOT. All right, I will mimic the language here.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, on 7, there's.
So that on 6, then that would be B, you would change that
Yep,
then, right? Okay.
exactly. And then in 7, the parking reduction section, again, it's the same changes that Andy requested. And then again, building design. I mean, one thing we talked about, and I didn't do it because it was too confusing, is there 2 sections are repeated almost word for word. And I don't know if we could consolidate. I'm not sure there's any benefit in keeping the GC and the HC separate. Because it's a lot of words. I think there must be, but I'm not remembering it now. Like, let's see.
Couldn't we have defined it then as the same and then had a carve out point that said?
Yeah.
Other than being a lot of words, I think I'd keep them separate.
Would you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Then,
Okay. All right, so 7. Okay, then on 8, it's the same situation with the primary street facing facade area. Okay, 10, it's the same with.
yeah, you'd have to change that again on number 3. 10, item 3. Any, just with the artwork and.
Oh, right, thank you. Okay. Okay.
I just reached the area I asked about.
I know. I'm so excited to talk about it. So here is the situation in a nutshell, which is
Sure, yeah, here.
this
Okay.
is the CM Community Mixed Use Zone, and it was created after the 2010 master plan, and to do the redevelopment of whatever, the Haggerty, and I can't remember the 2 or 3 properties. And subsequently, when eventually a developer was identified, a redevelopment plan was done. And the redevelopment plan specifically says that it replaces the underlying zoning. So initially, when I was going through this, I was like, just take it all out, because there's a drawing that is in here that doesn't represent what's actually on the ground. So here's my concern, and I've spoken about it with Sharon, but I did not get in touch with Steve Goodell today, and I need to get in touch with him, which is, as you are well aware, there was the owner of property in the CM, was sort of threatening to litigate, and was going to come to the zoning board for a use variance. Rather than try to get, rather than amend the redevelopment plan. And so if that was the case, and it was a use variance, what is the zoning? Is it a use variance from the redevelopment plan, or is it a use variance from the CM zone? And so this is really kind of super technical, but that was my only reservation about taking it out, Because if we do, that means then there's no other zoning. I mean, sorry, the redevelopment plan says there's no other zoning. The redevelopment plan says these are the land regulations for the site. But I'm concerned that the judge didn't seem to be buying that, would you say? So that
But how
is,
does this change that? I understand that your theory, your argument, but what if here fixes that, because it's not a restatement of the redevelopment plan?
well, so
Is it a restatement of the redevelopment plan?
It's
Is it
not.
this- It's not.
it's
Okay,
not.
it's different.
And so I think that's another thing, which is that there is, when you do a redevelopment plan, you're required to do an ordinance. So it then becomes part of the zoning ordinance. Cranbury did do that and it was adopted, but to Sharon and my knowledge, it wasn't ever incorporated into the code. So it's possible that we take the CM out and just put in that ordinance.
Is this,
It exists
is
somewhere.
this something
so it
we
just
should be
hasn't been-
discussing
Yeah.
right now?
I'm
Should this
ju-
be a
I
closed
guess-
meeting or?
Well, yeah, I was
Because-
just gonna ask Sharon that question. Are we getting there? Do we
I
talk
don't know
about this?
where this is with litigation, but this point was in litigation, at least. That's where it's currently not. It's been settled.
Right.
No,
It hasn't been settled?
it's been,
So
I mean, I could ask questions now
I'm with
that
you.
would probably trip it over.
I'm with you.
So the long and the short of it is, that's why I had initially taken it out and then was like, all right, no, I'm not going to, because I need more legal guidance.
Can we park this for now?
Yes.
And then come back to this, maybe we go in closed session?
Yes, that's fine.
Because I think there's some.
will that give you time to
questions.
speak with Steve?
Yeah, I mean, we can either do it tonight or we can do it next time and I'll talk to Steve in between.
Next time, okay.
Yeah, that's
'cause everybody hold their legal questions here.
Yeah.
Me. And Sharon, if we start tripping into something, just say, we're tripping into something.
And I totally agree. My earlier question was related to that though, because the CM zone referred to the historical design standards, which were changing. And that
Yeah,
was my initial question
I
about,
see, yeah.
that didn't seem right to be changing that. So that should be, just tie that into that conversation.
Yes, let me write that down. Okay, so that's it for now, for that. All right, so then there's a final sheet and we can go quickly and I'm gonna turn it over to
Hey, we're
Dave.
moving along here.
We are moving along, turn it over to Dave.
I'll be relatively quick. So I helped change the lighting plan. I've been doing lighting for a long time. And though I did learn a lot from our esteemed architect, Bill, about a couple of things, which was great. And he really helped me out a lot. So the idea here was to try to, number one, get the LED information in here with the green sky stuff and make sure that, dark sky, wrong word. So to reduce light pollution up into the air so we can see our stars at night kind of thing. And dim the lighting during the evening hours. And that's pretty much what the first page items 2 and 3 are about. There's a lot more to it than that in the U.S. Green Building Council's LED V3 light pollution. But the main part of it is exactly what you see in number 3. Okay, and that's the most important part, and the part that influences us in terms of site plans and commercial properties.
So
I don't-
I have a question on
Hmm.
this page.
Yeah.
I have a question on page 1.
Yeah, on item number 4.
Well, I'm not there yet. I'm
Oh,
gonna do
okay.
4. I'm gonna do 4 now.
Okay.
So the one thing that Bill helped me out with was that a lot of these site plans are providing lighting with very, very harsh, high Kelvin, above 4,000 K, white lights out in their parking lots. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to soften it. Something around 27K is warm white, a little bit of yellow mixed in, almost not near as bad as the old sodium vapors, but not near as white as remember the original LEDs came out and everybody hated them because it was so white. That's all been sort of buffered a little bit now and that's what item number 4 is about, to try to create a little bit of a lower Kelvin temperature. Bill, if you want to say anything else.
Yeah, 2700 is an incandescent bulb. So when you can see it when you go down Main Street, most people have that color lighting, but then when you have a, 4,000 Kelvin, LED light in your outside light, it's really stark. So just trying to keep everything a little bit more subtle.
Yeah, my question, can I ask my question now?
Yeah.
All right, my question
Chairman,
is the Kelvin, is that a standard way to calculate?
yes,
Is that our standard way to calculate? Okay.
it's a national standard.
You
Okay.
can look at any light bulb these days and it'll probably tell you what it is.
Okay.
It'll say K, it won't say Kelvin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we need a parenthesis
I was
after
going to note that.
warm white.
You're just doing this typo.
After,
In number 4, after the word.
Warm white.
Oh, put a parenthesis, you're right. Okay.
oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, good. Okay, and then the rest of it really has to do with glare. A quick story, item number 7, the apex angle of the cone of illumination to 150 degrees or lesser angle. I know exactly what that means, but I have not been able to find a manufacturer to give me that information on any light ever in my whole adulthood. So I want to take it out. But the whole idea is to not spread light to adjacent properties and residential properties. And if we go to the next page, I added a section at the bottom about that. So that's items 1 through 5, trying to keep residential properties from getting inundated by lighting that shouldn't be there. Okay. And then item C above, the second section on the top of that page with no glare. So the whole idea is to try to create a situation where an industrial zone or a commercial zone will not impact adjacent residential properties.
Okay, I do have a question on item B on page 2.
Mhm.
We have street lighting is the type supplied by Public Service Electric Gas Company. Do we have Jersey Central in town here at all?
We have both, I think.
Yeah, so should we have both utilities listed or utility, whatever, or, do we need to name the utility specifically or
We can just
just,
add it. Yeah.
just
Or do you want to say, it's supplied by the public
utility? Oh,
company?
yeah, of something along that line. Because we
Okay,
have
so no
more,
public name, just public
because I
utility.
think we do have Jersey Central
Yeah,
touching our,
it's split, yeah.
Can I ask a really stupid question?
no stupid questions.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like, the source of light and its visibility in the winter is totally different than in like the summer. So the stuff that we all see in the winter because of the lack of leaves, like violates a lot of these things. How do we accommodate for that? Like the seasonality of visibility?
Change the landscape ordinance.
Or should I not ask? See, it's not a stupid question. It
know. Yeah, I
opens
don't
up
know.
a can of
Put
worms,
more
but
weeds in, I don't know.
You can't-
I think the
There's
ordinance
no
you can't
such,
accommodate for
there's
that,
no
right?
such animal as a winter-summer light.
Right,
It changes.
right. It's just your.
That's not a stupid question. I mean, when the leaves fall off the tree,
But the ordinance is written for the worst case without the trees. The lighting calculations and design and glare is assuming, is not taking in consideration leaves or landscape.
Okay,
So
worst
it's
case.
worst case.
Okay.
I guess, yeah, I guess you're right. If anything, the summer's worse because, or summer's better because there's no light coming through because you have all these leaves
Right.
and you have a
that's what I
street.
mean.
I mean, I've seen many places where there's ordinance that say don't put a street tree near a street lamp. At least
I know
15 feet away, right?
Yeah, like we do it all winter long. We drive around. I'm like, I never noticed that before. It's because
Okay.
you can see it now.
I kind of have a related question, which is we reference glare a whole bunch in this. And in cases like, C at the top of the page, it says, 2-foot candle or 0.2 foot candles with no glare. Is glare a very clearly definable thing? I mean, what I'd worry about is because this applies to residential properties too. It's like if my neighbor suddenly says that my front porch light is glaring on their thing, am I violating the ordinance? I mean, because they see it.
I don't know.
I'm going to look it up on Google.
I mean, in my mind, the intent of the word glare, maybe it's better words, is that you don't see the light source. So,
I guess what I'm thinking is because this also applies to houses, I think.
Yeah.
If I drive up and down Main Street, I look I can identify almost every light source that's in the front porch.
Well, and it says with every application for approval of a site plan. That's what it says at the beginning of 150-48. So,
So we're gonna, it's sort of, anyone who has a light source is grandfathered, but if you come in with a new one, then,
that's what it's,
okay.
But it's also a single family home, right? Wouldn't,
Yeah.
is exempt.
yeah, it wouldn't be applicable to a single, because it's a site plan.
You can't get your neighbor now
All
with
right,
that new bulb.
that's fine.
Strong or dazzling light is what glare is in the definitions.
Stronger, dazzling.
I think Cranbury historically has been very good about enforcing the light fixtures, not to see the lights, not to see the light source. I think there's been some illuminated signs, billboards, some, light fixtures where now you do see those. And I think
Very vividly.
vividly, and there's been a lot of complaints against them. So I'm not opposed to trying to make this clear that the neighbors shouldn't see the light source. You don't want to be a residence next to a warehouse where you see that light shining. When the library was first built, the information board was running 24 hours a day. And every time I walked through my house, I just saw this big light source coming, So that's kind of what, they shut it down now. So it's totally fine after hours, but that's what we want to try to avoid,
Okay, so item number 11 now has all light shall direct light downward and the light source shall not be visible beyond the property boundaries.
11 is the old 8.
Oh, okay, yes. But in any case, the verbiage talks about boundaries.
Which part talks about how none of this applies to the single family home?
Well, the introductory paragraph and under 150-48, it's A, with every application for approval of a site plan.
I saw that part. And
Yeah, and so a site plan's not required for a single-family house.
so by definition, this entire thing doesn't apply to single family homes.
Right.
Okay.
What is the C5? This is timers remote control. What does that mean?
It should be or remote control.
Timers
Well,
or remote control.
I think there's a, yeah, but there's no site plan.
I guess we would just say, point them to the contradiction of that. And it would be more clear if we just said that this only applies to, that this doesn't apply to, but that's fine.
Liz just pointed out item number 5, the last item. I just have a typo. Timers or remote control shall be used.
Okay.
That's about it. So, any comments? Any other comments?
Not on
All the
the-
rest of my comments were related to how it would apply to single family homes. So
Right.
assume that that's inapplicable.
All right. But so do you want to make that clear? Is that what you're saying?
I think I
I don't know. I mean, I'm agnostic. I would have to understand the broader context in which it's in, because we're pulling this out. Like if it's in the middle of a section that has been only exclusively talking about large,
Well,
Yeah,
commercial and industrial.
yeah.
I mean, you're in this whole section about
Sidewalks, curbing.
sidewalks and
yeah.
and applications for,
Yeah. So
Site
then it's
plans,
probably, in context, it's probably more clear, I think.
yeah, because there's things about curbing before that. And so it's all the design standards, right? For vehicular circulation,
So
streets.
should we
You know-
include that in there?
Maybe we should say major site plan and major subdivision.
But in a minor, you could have a minor with
Yeah.
Okay. I'm all right, yeah.
commercial next to residential. I think I think you really want to
That's
protect
true.
residential from the commercial, other uses.
Really, the lighting on a subdivision, even if it's a 5 lot or a 100 lot, is usually mostly just street lighting.
Yeah, I was going beyond lighting. Like, there's a whole section here where I'm like, okay, so now I'm gonna have to put screening around my HVAC thing because it's more than 12 inches tall and stuff like that. But As long as all none of that applies.
I'm trying to get to the original section for this.
Oh, 48.
Commercial design
No,
standards.
you go the other way, 48.
Well, I want 48 was the lighting section.
Oh, so where you want to go then?
Well, I was wondering if this is under like a general section of,
It's just design standards,
Just-
just a little.
okay. It doesn't.
Oh, wait, no, is it? Sorry,
Yeah,
I
that-
said that. That's all under site plan and subdivision standards.
Ah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, you're right, you're right. So then automatically that doesn't apply to single family.
That's true even when it's being developed as a group, like when they came to us for the Haggerty property
Right, is that,
and they had a whole bunch of things and that doesn't count?
no, then it would.
Okay.
That was a
So
site
it does
plan.
apply
That
to
was a
single
site plan.
family. It just doesn't apply retroactively to an individual.
Right.
single family,
Right, exactly.
Only to the development of a neighborhood. And that was relevant because originally they did put all the HVAC right in the, right on the front of the
Right,
street with no screening.
Right.
Right,
I mean, if the town came up with an ordinance for dark sky standards to be applied as a police power for all residences in the community, I mean, that would be
No.
probably in a different
Yeah,
section.
that's not my intent.
No, and that would not apply to development. That would apply to,
I almost covered Mike just now.
I think my point from the
You'd be hiring the police patrol at night, so the lighting patrol.
I think my comments from the beginning were aimed towards the idea that I didn't think we intended this for single family, but I wanted to make sure that we weren't accidentally doing so.
Right.
If you're telling me the context is a major site plan, then that's fine.
correct.
Okay.
okay, so do you want to keep going?
Yeah,
It's
we
not-
don't have much left,
Not
right?
much left. So the next page after the lighting is storage and disposal of waste. You'll see two highlighted things at the bottom. Those need to come out because I realize that it's redundant to what's above under B, yes, at B. So the only thing that was really changed was, I guess we said rather than unified and harmonious with the overall architectural theme, we said it shall be architecturally compatible with the principal building or surrounding landscape. So that's really the only change there. Oh, and that it can't extend above the enclosure. You can't have a pilot. Okay, so then under public utilities, we referenced the section that talks about the Pantone green, hot boxes and, so that's just so people know to look in both places if they find themselves here. Then moving along to section 55, screening of exterior mechanical equipment. So this is sort of, a lot of our applications, we spent a lot of time on these issues. And so it's trying to address both when they're on the roof and then when they're ground mounted. And, there's one caveat, which this doesn't apply to solar panels because that's its own issue. It's really only to HVAC systems, but also all of the unusual mechanical equipment that we see on this board having to do with manufacturing. So it would apply to that, but the idea is to give people a head start in designing their enclosures before they come to the board. And I don't know, but if anybody has any specific questions, I can.
Well, the last three are really kind of a lot of things that we focus on at our meetings. So, I mean, if there's any one section that we really kind of, next to signs, I mean, these three areas are the one we really kind of like trigger items that we really kind of go a little bit buggy on and really kind of hold our applicants pretty strictly to some kind of a guideline. Especially with stuff mounted on the roofs or, emergency generators or the hot box. Does everybody feel comfortable with these as they are for now? Everybody feel good with those? Okay.
Bill usually leads the charge on this.
I know that, and yeah, I mean, I know, so I'm just saying, but I mean, these are usually our trigger items. I mean,
Well, and I don't, there's nothing that we could put in an ordinance about this, but a number of times when these items have come up, it's because the occupant's need has changed. And they're needing to add something on the exterior of the
Right.
building. And we then have, the first half an hour of the conversation is, well, why can't it be in the building? You wonder if there's a way that people that, when they're putting these facilities together, could have some foresight to say down the road, and I know that sounds ridiculous.
no,
but
it's not,
really,
it's not ridiculous, but it's sometimes it's hard to envision
No, I know.
what the change would be, change of use for something unless you were clairvoyant to say, all right, we're going to leave X space within the building in case there's an expansion or whatever to make those modifications, or outside of the property or something like that. Well, the schools, that's a whole nother separate issue
It's an example of expecting things to stay one way. And
yeah, but
changing it to something.
the school did not come to us about the hot box that's sitting in the middle of the parking lot right now.
No,
That's a whole separate issue because they didn't have to come to us and do that.
maybe not the best example, but I'm just
No,
saying,
it's-
something intended to be
no.
one thing and then it changes to be another and you can't foreshadow that.
Right. I
20
mean, this 15 years ago was not an issue, but now it's an issue because everybody requires this now. And then we're pretty anal about making sure you hide it as best you can without damaging the ability of whoever to get in and out of it.
Did you see this question that Amon sent earlier about the school? Do you want me to ask?
I think I just kind of brought it up.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
in essence, the school is exempt right now from us doing anything about that. I mean, it's in our plans, I mean, for what everything else is, but
Is the wrap around it yet?
no, it's just the location and what could have been done, I think, to protect it better than what it is right now. Because it's sitting in the middle of the parking lot, and if they just extended the apron around where it is, it would have eliminated, and maybe not even eliminated any parking spaces, but just, eliminated any problem with somebody driving into the doggone thing. So.
Well, you're welcome to get the school board's attention.
No, I think I made my point. But-
I will speak to the township engineer. He did try.
I know that.
Every which way, and it's hard to.
And-
tell somebody who doesn't have to be compelled to do it.
Yeah, and again, we were never trying to hold up my goodness, we didn't want to hold up the whole thing. But there was just a lot of back and forth on that, but we're digressing. I'm digressing here, so. And keeping everybody from going home, So what's our next, it looks like we got through this all tonight.
Yeah.
Which is good. Do we need to have a separate meeting? Or are you going to try to put this all together with Sharon? And then are we going to come up with some kind of a draft ordinance to give over to the township attorney? Or Mayor, what would you like to do? Would you like us to go that route? And
I think so, and then it goes through the township attorney and then back. Here.
Bill, I could have solved your example.
Yeah.
More light.
Introduce it, and then between the time of introduction and
I don't know, between the time of introduction and the public hearing, that's when it should come to the planning board for consistency review.
lost my list.
Shouldn't be an issue since you already drafted it. So.
So are we looking then, maybe by the end of next month, we could have something.
How busy are you?
No, no. No.
That sounds ambitious.
How about by March? Is that?
Yeah, let's do that.
I mean, I'm trying to get some kind of time frame where we could, in my head, where at least we could say, get it back to us in March and we give it the final okey dokey to go to the township committee, and then the township committee's got to do their okey dokey and then get it back to us. So maybe by May, it'll go and be the final stamp of approval on the thing, maybe. Unless they get it back to us in April or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, am I kind of, does that seem feasible?
It's good. My only concern is just going through the rest of the ordinance, which Sharon has already done a lot of, but to make sure it's consistent. That's just a little bit time consuming.
So we'll look for March then. That's 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's not feasible, just let us know
Yeah.
next month at our meeting next month then. All right. All right, I'm going to close that out, which was very good. Thank you, everybody. That was good. We have no applicants, so we don't have to have that section. Old and new business. We just did the whole zoning subcommittee work. Did you want to do a 5-minute overview of what you did at the end of the year with the affordable housing and everything, and just send in everything and
Basically basically kind of where we left off is we went in through the challenge period, in through the court system, with retired Judge Jacobson, where she held 2 settlement conferences, with the township and the challengers to the plan. We have since entered into a settlement agreement with, Fair Share Housing, which indirectly puts us into a settlement agreement with the Henry Realty Company. And we've since gone into a settlement agreement with CHA, which means that gives us 1 remaining challenger. And we put those settlement agreements into the judge and submitted them into the judge, along with
by the deadline. Right?
By the deadline of December 31st. And it also, we were able at that point to publicly announce that we've moved off 1234 South River Road, and we've moved to a new location, which is 1260 South River Road, which is just short of a mile closer to town, still on South River Road on the east side of town, but closer to the infrastructure of downtown, and still scoring the same, which means that it's, the ability to get 9% federal tax credits for that for development are still really high. We have, so what happens next is the special adjudicator and Judge Jacobson will prepare their report and their opinion letter that goes up to Judge McCloskey. I believe it's the right name that I have. And then that will be basically her final say, her Honor's final say on that. And then they will determine what happens to that final challenger. But for the most part, we've reached the settlement agreements that we felt that we needed to reach settlement agreements with. So you'll see a ordinance that will be on January 12th's agenda for the township that will be prepared for Cranbury Commons to move forward as part of the settlement agreement with CHA. And then we will continue with our negotiations. And we were hoping to close on 1274, which is the senior project on South River Road. We were actually hoping to close on that property by the end of the year, but I have not heard that we've done that, but we're certainly close on that. And then we're fairly, obviously, in active negotiations with 1260. But 1260 not only is an alternative property, but it's a willing seller. Which is a far better scenario for the township.
What about Cranberry Commons?
Cranberry Commons is part of our settlement agreement with
But that's not the
CHA.
ownership. So did you?
CHA would be the management of that that
I
property.
get that, but
So-
I meant they're not the current owner of the property. Did we already negotiate with them, or are we in active negotiations? with them?
CHA is in active negotiations with the
So-
property owner,
So
so,
they're negotiating, but we purchase it.
yeah, but we,
Okay.
yeah, we'll provide, correct.
Okay.
And
Right.
with the final, is that the 20th of January?
Yeah.
That the final, so the
Yeah.
final gavel coming down is the 20th?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So this month, a week and a half from now?
Yeah. Yeah. And then my intent as mayor and working alongside with Kevin Van Nuys, our attorney for affordable housing, is to kind of publish a public statement so that a lot of the things that the residents of Cranbury felt that we weren't transparent around, there were reasons for that, which we've tried to clearly indicate throughout the year. But now that these are part of the public record, we are able to kind of go back and explain what it was that we weren't able to share. Everybody knew why, because we were under constraints of litigation and legality. And now that everything is now a matter of public record in the eyes of Judge Jacobson, that allows us to kind of go back and not Monday morning quarterback everything, but certainly explain some things in more detail of why we weren't as transparent and forthcoming. And those handcuffs are kind of off of us now. And I'm hoping that statement won't really be a mayor's statement. It'll be more of a statement coming from the full township committee so that people understand things a little bit more. And maybe that helps people kind of, understand the situation a little bit more and the pressure that all of us, including this board, have been under this year. So I wouldn't say that we've gotten over that, through it, but we've certainly got it. We also were able to work very closely with pretty much every chief of staff of the governor's office and every agency, with HMFA and DCA and DEP and anybody that would take our call. But we were basically on speed dial with the governor's staff, I would say the latter part of the last 6 months. And I'll make that very, very clear in this statement that goes out to the residents. And that was a lot of heavy lifting behind the scenes. And, we really do thank, those members of the governor's staff that kind of stepped in and helped us out and realized what it is that we would need. And again, I want to just thank the residents of town. We had 36 public comments that went in. They're all a matter of public record now for that HMFA, that 250-foot buffer rule. You don't need to Oprah them. They're all out there in public comment and public information. And you can see all the residents of this town that kind of came to, and I had asked for people to present public comment in favor of this language change. And I was really happy to see the people that stepped up and did it. And in talking with HMFA, it was actually the public comment and resident comment that made a big difference. It wasn't just that Wayne and Amon showed up in person and I presented a letter asking for it, but it was really the residents that took up that cause and did it that made the difference with HMFA. And you can read through that whole transcript, all 400 something pages of it, but it just goes to show you that it does make a difference when the public or residents share their opinions with the government. It really does. And in this case, it made the difference with us being able to get that language change and make 1260 a viable and a site suitable for development. So we're very excited about where we are. But again, we still have a lot of work to do. It's not finished yet, but.
Right, that's the next step. So once the final gavel comes down on the 20th, then.
Yeah.
The planning board will be involved with a lot of things. It'll be the subcommittee with Bill and myself, and then there'll be stuff coming to the planning board with plans and
And
things.
it'll be everything on the 1260 property, the full site development, and that will follow the normal process. It won't be special meetings and 11th hour pressuring or anything like that. So that's the good news, is that we'll be able to conduct business in the way that we're accustomed to conducting business. And they'll maybe be using our brand new checklist, who knows? And but that's what they'll be doing. And right now that is scheduled for a full 130 units, family units on that site.
Are they going to use the whole property or just part of it on 1260?
1260, you can't use the entire property because of the way that you've got the stream.
There's a pond there that.
Yeah, all that has
Yeah.
been, and they have, we have full letter of commitment from DEP that they understand that. And
Okay.
again, moving to residential and their 99-year flood rules and all of those types of things. We had, Walters Group had hired Princeton Hydro to do a full site report on it. We presented that to the DEP. And then we got a letter that was also submitted to Judge Jacobson, that we have the full cooperation and support of DEP for site suitability for the site too. So that was something that we were able to get from the DEP as well, which I think went a long way. I think in general, I can't speak for Judge Jacobson, but just being involved in those meetings and reading body language and everything that she said, I think she was fully supportive of Cranbury negotiating to get to these settlements agreements. And again, applauded our long history and how we've managed affordable housing. So, and then indicating that even through the adversity that we had, we were still able to get to where we needed to be, and was happy with the site that we had chosen. So we're moving along.
So I think this is a very positive note, especially for this board, because, and as you just said, it doesn't, we had to do things in kind of a Herculean manner last year that normally we wouldn't have had to do. And that was a heavy lift for everybody. And I'm not envisioning that this year, that it'll be more of a normal process, just like any other applicant coming in to do something that we could, work at a normal pace and be, diligent like we normally are with any applicant.
And I would expect, again, based on the original application for 1274 and the way the Walters Group presented to the planning board, I would hope that this application will be as buttoned up as that, and, will hopefully be, be a good process here. I can't predict what will or will not happen, but at least it'll be under the course of a normal meeting, a normal application, a normal review process, and, no last minute expectations of this board, which
Well, I thought the
relieved.
Walters Group were especially cooperative with Bill and I when we reviewed their plans and incorporated a lot of the design changes that we had actually recommended to them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a testimony to them that they're willing to at least work with us, on that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. So we'll expect the affordable subcommittee, of which Wayne and Bill are part of, that will continue. Again, it will probably continue through 2026.
Unless somebody else wants to do that.
But that'll continue without a doubt, just in case if we do have any unexpected challenges. But other than that, I just don't foresee them. I think this will happen like a natural process now. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. That was
If there's any other questions.
Anybody have any other questions?
Yeah, I'd be happy to
We're
answer
good
them.
right now? Okay. I do have one maybe new business, and this kind of falls into our affordable housing. And Bill and I have been talking about this. I'm kind of just touched about it with Liz. And this is something I'd like to do this year, is relook at a swath of our zoning in town and see how we can, I guess, make it amendable to affordable housing and more of a general aspect where we can look at this now and not be faced 10 years from now with what's going to come down the pike 10 years from now, and at least have a discussion on what we might be doing and do in a certain area of the town. And I don't know how we would handle that. If we're talking about specific properties or a specific area, can we do that in public, or do we have to do that in a closed session? I don't know. That's something maybe Sharon, you could advise us on. I mean, because it's a swath. I mean, I'm proposing a whole swath of land to be looked at. And I don't know how, if that's in the public domain, or do we have to talk about that privately first?
One thing you could do is do a subcommittee.
Well, the subcommittee of Bill and Wayne have come up with some ideas, but we got to run it by everybody here. So, I mean,
This would be part of a future wave of additional requirements from the state.
Yeah, we're going to be, the town is going to be faced with something in the future. And I mean, and this is something that you're going to have to get involved with less, like what's the tripping point for the school for how many kids and what, things along that line. I mean, these are all things that we have to talk about because, I'm looking at, and it might be a crazy idea or that, but I want to set us up now so that if people in the future want to take advantage of this in the zone, then they can at least take advantage of it. Because right now it's not included. And if we're going to look at making, try to make some housing, and it may be, this might sound crazy, some market housing too, smaller market units for people to possibly afford in town, without tripping into something with the school, with Princeton High School. I mean, this is something I think we need to reassess now. And again, I might be wrong. The board could say, no, Wayne, we don't want to do that. That's just me right now. But this is something, think about it. And if we, come back to the next meeting, if we want to explore this, then we could look at how we would go about doing this. I mean, I could talk with Liz separately too on what I'm thinking about, and then at least, Bill and Liz, and then, how we would even attempt to tackle this. But you're going to need to let us know either, how this works with the school, because I don't want to propose putting in 400 houses and it's like time out. That's game match point. That's going to kick us out of our contract with Princeton. I don't want to do that. So, but if it's accommodating potentially future affordable housing obligations that we're going to be faced with, because there's absolutely no indication this is not going to happen in the future again. And how we're going to address this. I mean, I just can't see the town having to go through this and ripping itself apart again 10 years from now. And land is only going to be more expensive 10 years from now, exponentially more than what it is right now, because we're running out of it in town here. So I just think if we set ourselves up now to at least address this, I think we're doing maybe a justice to the town to try to avoid this for the future. But again, I may be wrong, but think about it. Okay. Any comments or questions on that? No, everybody wants to go home. I don't blame them. Well, it's, I'll give you, the only advice I could give you is when I was on Township Committee back in the good old days in the 90s, and we were looking at the entire farmland preservation program and how the heck we were going to preserve all this land. And we had to look out and say, okay, if we don't do this now, what's going to happen 30, 40, 50 years from now? So we're almost at that point. I mean, we're 30 years past that point, and we would have looked like Plainsboro or South Brunswick or East Windsor or West Windsor or Monroe. And 70% of our town is either preserved through farmland or parks or open space or whatever. And that's a testimony to the people back at that time that said, we don't want this. But it's kind of bit us a little bit now because we don't have the land to do the affordable housing or things along that line. So that's why this kind of trips into this now. How could we, with this hanging over our head in the future, how could we safeguard the town against this? Because it's an unknown. You're right. I don't know what's going to happen 10 years from now, but something's going to happen 10 years from now. I don't hear anybody saying we're getting rid of the affordable housing program after this round. That's it. It's not happening. So it's just something that I think if we could look at something and make sense of it, and it's not so crazy if this helps us safeguard for the future, then it's something I think we need to look at.
The
now.
only caution that I would give there is if you're comparing round 1, 2, 3, 4, is that the floor is going to continue to move under your feet.
Oh,
And that
there's,
the requirements and parameters and guidelines and rules are going to continue to change. They're going to change within the round. And that's the only thing that I can say is going to stay consistent, is that you can't just go to some playbook and say, when you were dealing with affordable housing and what you were able to do and the flexibility that you had in the program versus where we are now is night and day. And so I would expect that, I don't necessarily know that the changes in affordable housing have been improvements to it. It's not a Six Sigma approach to an issue. It's not continuous improvement. It has just been change. And it's just been different. It's not good or bad. It's just that it's been different. And that's been consistent. So what round 5 is going to look like, how they're going to calculate numbers. But there is such a thing as you've reached the point that you're developed as a community. And there's a strategy there that needs to be looked at. That
well, that could be the strategy too, that we're not touching anything now.
what's
We're
the-
leaving
what's-
everything as is, and there won't be any place to
What is the
develop 10 years from now.
criteria that they define right now as a town being developed? That you don't get a number because you don't have enough developable land. And what does that look like? How are they defining a fully developed town?
I think 10 years from
Because-
now, this town will be fully developed.
Well-
Whatever land is left
Based
will be
on
developed on.
based on this process that we have gone through, one could start to make that argument now. I mean, a unit here, group home there, this there, that doesn't gonna add up.
Well, that's what we need to flesh out too. But think about it, everybody, okay? All right. With that said, can I have a motion to adjourn tonight?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Choking out on that.
Yes.